Happy Thursday, everyone. We are going to come at you with a nice little AMRAP today. Nice little break after that on-the-minute work set we had yesterday, which was a good time. But today, before we get to the work set, what we got? We got a plank knee to elbow. So instead of coming up the center, we're going to come out the outside. And we're going to work on that core and those hips a little bit differently. 10 to 20 alternating reps. Into our bird dog for 10 alternating reps. Quad plank for 10 to 30 seconds. Into our plank to down dog for 3 to 5. Just really tackling the shoulders and working on waking up the core a little bit and just getting you ready to go, priming you up. 2 to 3 rounds in that, take your time. Moving down into our next phase, we have a little bit more kind of dumbbell focused work in terms of our hamstrings and our legs. We have our tuck hollow with extension to prime up our hamstrings and our core for 20 seconds. Single leg RDL for 5 aside. You can do foot assisted or not foot assisted, loaded or unloaded, so that's you. Single leg good morning with rotation. So again, just working on that position, just getting a little rotation aspect in there as well. And then we're going to work on bringing everything together for the dumbbell deadlift for 3 to 5 reps. We have 3 to 5 rounds of that just to get those hamstrings and everything fired up for the work set. And then we have 12 minutes of our workout, which is going to consist of 12 V-ups or a V-up option into our dumbbell deadlift for 6. And then we're going to do a dumbbell pullover anywhere from 3 to 6 reps, depending on what you have access to for loading and or whatever you can tolerate for your shoulder. Pick a number, live with that rep scheme, and pick something you can do unbroken. So we're working on a really good position there. We'll hit that for 12 minutes. You might cycle through this quite a few times, so be prepared for a higher scoring AMRAP and enjoy. Let's get you prepped, ready to have some fun. All right, you guys, let's warm up. Let's get those feet under the hips. We're going to take the arms big and tall overhead. We're going to give ourselves a little shrug. We're going to come down with the shoulders, and then we're going to forward fold. Touching those toes, priming up those hammies. We're going to come up the shins. We're going to come down, frame a foot. We're going to step back into your lizard. Nice and square in those hips. We're going to take the inside hand, lock the foot in place. And we're going to take our body towards the outside hand. And then come back to center. So eyes looking down, look to the hand. Look to the floor. Take it over again, and back to center. We're going to lower the knee, press the hip, come back to center, press the hip, back to center, press the hip, and back to center. Plant the hand, straighten the leg. We'll step back into our down dog. Just set the shoulders, open up the upper back a bit, come back into our plank, step the foot up. Inside hand is going to lock the foot in place. We're going to turn, back to center, turn, back to center, turn, and back to center. We're going to lower the knee. We're going to press the hip, come back through, press the hip, back to center, and press the hip one more time, and back to center. Plant the hand on the floor, grip it, straighten out the back leg, step back with that front foot. Nice and set through those shoulders again, nice and solid. And then from here, we're just going to walk it into our plank, pulling those ribs and hips together, pressing the shoulders up, and then tiptoeing those feet up into our forward fold. We're going to roll ourselves up. Big stretch. A little shrug. We'll come back down, bring the hands down. And get you guys fired up. All right, let's do it up. So if you'd like to pause the video, take it down. A little bit more gentle warm-up for yourself. If you want to spend some time doing some wrist mobility, circles, hand stuff, that would be not a bad idea because we are going to be spending most of our first portion of our warm-up on our hands. All right, so pause, take it down. But if you're ready to go, come join me into our plank knee to elbow work set. So I'm going to get myself set up into my plank. Nice and solid through here. Pull my ribs and hips in, press through my shoulders. And instead of the knee to nose, we're going to do the knee to elbow today. So we're going to take the knee up to the outside of the elbow slash tricep. And then we're going to pull it up and then come back down. So again, I'm going to turn to the front so you guys can see where that elbow is going. We're kind of going up and out. So I pull the ribs in, press through the shoulders. I pull the knee to the outside, maintaining that good plank position. And pull the knee to the outside. So I'm trying to maintain a still upper body and still core position as I just bring that elbow as high up to bring that knee up to my elbow as close as I can, or touching at the tricep. So we want to touch the tricep just so we don't crank our elbow. It's a little nicer, just if we do accidentally hit ourselves a little hard, the tricep is much more forgiving than the elbow joint itself. So shoot for the tricep, nice smooth compression, back into your plank. From there, we're going to move into our bird dog. And our bird dog is going to be that dead bug, but actually in our tabletop. So I get myself set up, hand under the shoulder, knee under the hip. I'm going to squeeze my ribs and hips together, and I'm going to extend my hand and my arm out, and my leg straight back into this nice flat position, maintaining this good body position as square as I can. Then I'm going to set my position, switch sides, staying nice and square, pressing my foot straight back, and then repeat back and forth. So we want to try and be a straight line from hand to heel. So trying to maintain that nice straight line can be very challenging sometimes, but something we can do to help that is we can actually use a wall. So if we get close to the wall and I get my leg set up, I push my leg back into the wall and I feel that straight back contact, and I can use the wall to maintain that nice straight line for my leg so that I can just lift my arm and set my position, opposed to overarching and lifting the leg too high. So that's a nice tool you can play with. Take your time though. Really focus on extending and pressing straight out, opposed to just lifting up, because sometimes when we lift, that's when we can overextend. From our bird dog, we move into our quad plank. So we go right from that tabletop again, gripping the floor. We keep the toes curled under, ribs and hips, press through the shoulders so I'm tight. I lift my knees an inch off the ground. I just hold this position nice and strong. And hold that for a solid 10 to 30 seconds, or whatever time frame I can allow myself to maintain that strong shoulder position and my core position. So if at any point, if I'm shooting for 30, I'm like, I'm gonna build up to 30 today, I've been trying to get closer, but if you're holding, you hit 20 and all of a sudden you hit 23 and you start to sink into those scapula, come out. Or really focus on pressing through those shoulders. If you can correct it, keep going, but only bank that time with good shoulder and core position. You wanna bank that good position so our body knows what we're after. From there, we're going to extend into our plank position. So we're going to get into this plank, nice and solid here, and we're just going to work through some plank to down dogs. Just opening up the shoulders a little bit, feeling those hamstrings, those hips, say hello, but always kind of searching for that good position through the lats, and then that good solid plank position in our plank. So as we pull back, feel those lats say hi, come back in, pull and tuck into that nice plank, and focus on those two nice positions. We create this kind of complex with these two movements, so we want to make sure we're focusing on either movement on either end, so we can keep it clean and keep it strong. Quick recap, we have our plank knee to elbow for 10 to 20 reps alternating. Bird dog for 10 alternating as well. Quad plank for 10 to 30 seconds, banking good time. And then our plank to down dog for 3 to 5 reps. 2 to 3 rounds of that, take it down, pause it, get that core set, get those shoulders heated up a little bit, and we're gonna move right into our next phase. So pause, come join me. We're gonna start playing around with a little bit more core work, and we're gonna work on those hamstrings a little bit more. So I'm gonna lay on the floor and get into my tuck hollow. But it's always nice when we do this to stretch those arms and toes super long, and then I'm going to pull everything in to my center line. So I'm going to pull my ribs and hips together, my shoulders and my knees together, and once I establish this tuck hollow, I'm going to work on extending my legs as straight as I can, trying to keep my knees close to my shoulders, working on that compression. And you notice the speed that I'm working at. I'm not trying to shoot my legs up. I'm just slowly extending while I try and keep my knees and shoulders really close together. So we want to make sure we're really fighting for that compression and that extension of the hamstring as we go. So play with that. Take your time. It's 20 seconds of how many ever reps you can get in. So take your time with it. Work for quality and really tap into that hamstring, especially if you have tight hamstrings. We want to make sure we start to loosen those up, and this is a great way to do that. Our next exercise, we get to stand up tall. and we're going to work through that single leg RDL, where you can load it or you can not. It's up to you. So I'm going to pick my first foot to get going, and I'm going to show this with my foot assist. So my toe is down, my hands are to the front like I'm holding a dumbbell, even if I'm not. I'm going to squeeze my glutes, and I'm going to pull my hips back, focusing on that flat foot contact. So my big toe stays down, my whole foot stays on the floor, and I'm trying to stay weighted through my midfoot. So again, foot assist, I pull back, staying centered through my foot. I get that good hinge, taking my hands to the knee, and then I stand up tall. The other variation is the non-foot assist. So I pick my foot, I get myself square, I set up the same way. The only difference is that I pull back and I hinge, but that foot stays off the ground. And I'm just working on balance a little bit more on that one. And we want to make sure that we're picking the option that allows us to feel that hamstring and glute. So if you pick the foot up and all of a sudden you lose that engagement, I want you to go back to that foot assist so you can really start to build that engagement factor through that hamstring and glute. And then as that starts to get stronger, it'll transition over to that single leg RDL with the foot off the ground. If you'd like to load it, you can load it any way you'd like. You can hold it, two hands to the front with that toe assist, taking the dumbbell to the knee. You can hold it on the same side that's doing the balancing, right? Or you can hold it on the opposite side that's lifting or the toe is down. So either one is a good place to hold. Neither is better nor worse. They're all just a little bit different in terms of how they load the body and how we have to balance and coordinate ourselves. So neither is better nor worse. Pick one, challenge yourself, have fun, or just go empty hand. Our next exercise, we stick with the single leg stuff, and I'm going to turn to the side for the first rep. We're going to do that single leg good morning with rotation. So I have one leg straight, heel on the ground just in front of my big toe. I squeeze my glutes. I'm going to bring my hands together in the front. I'm going to pull my hips back just like my single leg RDL, but then I'm going to rotate towards that straight leg, and then I'm going to stand tall. So from the front, what that looks like, my hips are about hip width apart. I squeeze, I pull back, keeping my knees apart, rotate towards that straight leg, and then I come back up, and I square up, re-squeeze, and do it again. I always get people to work that engagement first so that we can really make sure that our glutes are firing and we can maintain proper balance and position. So there's nothing wrong with setting, squeezing, and then starting the next rep. Try not to rush them too much. After that, we're going to bust out the dumbbell deadlift. We're going to bring everything together now into the movement that we're going to use today in the work set. So first deadlift for some might be a little bit more challenging off the floor. So what we can do is we can do a sumo deadlift for the first one. So the dumbbells are between my feet. I take it back and down. So it's a little bit more of a squat position, but I can usually get a better position this way from my back. And then I'll stand. I'll transition the dumbbells to the outside and then bring my feet a little bit closer. So what we can do for this, I can turn to the side so you can see my back position. The dumbbells stay in line with my legs and my body as I take it down to as deep as I feel comfortable. My weight stays through my midfoot and my big toe stays down on the floor. And I pull the hips back, taking the dumbbells to the knee, and then I lower everything down together. And I stand tall. My knees stay over top of my heels, but they do go slightly out as I take the dumbbells down to give them space to go and to help stabilize my pelvis. So play with that deadlift. We have a fun time with that one. We have quite a few repetitions in our work set of that today, but take your time with the warm-up. Make sure you're working on positioning and finding out where the floor is for you, because in the workout, I only want you to take it as deep as you can maintain a good back position. As a quick recap, again, we have a tuck hollow with extension for 20 seconds, single leg RDL for 5 aside, single leg good morning with rotation for 3 aside, and then a dumbbell deadlift for 3 to 5 reps, finding your weight, working on your positioning, and just figuring anything out you have to work on in that workout or that movement. 3 to 5 rounds, pause it, take it down, you guys. We're gonna move into the work set and go over some work or the movements that we have going on. So in our workout, what we have is our V-up for 12, our dumbbell deadlift for 6, and our dumbbell pullover for 3 to 6 reps. So for the V-up, we have lots of options here for you guys to play with. We can play around with our full V-up, so both hands and feet. We can work on a single leg V-up, back and forth, alternating. We can work on a tuck-up. We can do a single leg tuck-up. And or we can work on our hollow up. So if that hinging is a little bit too much, we can work on that little hollow up. So just pushing the low back down, hitting that nice solid position, shoulders and legs coming off the ground, and or the single leg. So if we have issues and we want to isolate more of the upper body portion of the V-up, because our V-ups kind of look like this, and our upper body doesn't come off the ground, which can sometimes happen, we want to focus our attention to this portion so we can start building that strength to meet halfway in the V-up. So 2 options we have for you are the laying L's, so that laying toe touch. So my legs come up into my L, I point my fingers towards my toes, I'm going to pull my ribs and hips together, and then I come back down. And then I pull my ribs and hips together, and then I come back down. If your L looks more like a tuck, what we can do is lower one foot, and that can help straighten that single leg out. The movement is the same. It doesn't make it easier on the core, but it does make it easier to maintain that L position. So listen to your body, listen to your hamstrings, and see what works best for you. After that, we have that pike sit-up. So this is another fan favorite. Hands above the head, legs are straight. We will sit up, trace the legs, touch the toes, or we'll take it to wherever we can get into that pike position, and then lay back down and repeat. If by chance you start getting only to the shin, but by the end of the workout you're like, hey, I can touch my shoelaces by now. All right. Explore that range. Explore the range as we go through the workout, and as the hamstrings start to get heated up and release a bit, keep continuing to find that extra range. Right? So lots of options there for the V-up. If you have a pull-up bar, you can even play with knee to elbow, tuck-ups, toe to bar, whatever you have in that at home. But the floor options are nice, super challenging, and give you a really good core burn. Our next exercise is the dumbbell deadlift for 6. So if you have any questions about that, please rewind the video, take it down, hit that deadlift portion in our last warm-up piece. All the points of performance are there, so take it down and just practice a couple reps good and strong. And then we have the dumbbell pullover. So we've done these quite a bit in the past little while. I'm going to take one of my dumbbells that I'm using for my deadlift, or a dumbbell you've kind of dedicated to the pullover. My feet are going to be flat like a bridge. I'm going to take the dumbbell in the hands, holding by the bell. Elbows are soft, but strong. They're pointing out to the side a little bit. And I'm going to press my low back into the floor, and I'm going to take the dumbbell all the way back, touching the dumbbell to the floor, and then coming back overhead. So I control the dumbbell. Remember, these are a little slower than other movements in the past for this. So we press the low back, we take our time, control the range, and then press up. If I have more range, I can hold the dumbbell on either ends of the bell. My elbow position is the same. And I'm going to, again, lower down, keeping the low back in contact with the floor, and then bring it back up. And then again, take it down, and just get a little bit more range of motion here in that movement. So take your time with those. In terms of the movement or the workout, V-ups for 12, pretty steady. Dumbbell deadlifts will move pretty well and smooth. You'll be done. Take a little extra time to work quality range of motion with that pullover. So you're working on that lat, you're working on that lat mobility as well, and that strength. So you have 3 to 6 reps, so even if you're moving a little slower, it's not going to hold you back in terms of speed in the workout. You're going to get a moment just to lay down and stretch out those lats a bit. Because then you can just put the dumbbell off to the side and go right into your V-up option and take it from there. So as a quick recap of the workout, we have 12 minutes, 12 V-ups, or one of those V-up options, 6 dumbbell deadlifts, and 3 to 6 dumbbell pullovers. Work for quality, you guys, today. Have fun with this. Enjoy this little AMRAP. It's gonna cycle pretty quick, and you're gonna get pretty fired up through the core and the hips. So be prepared for that. But I hope you enjoy your Thursday, everyone. Have a great day, and we'll see you very soon.